that Gendry?
Never any weapons, we're safe.
Look at their hands. They're clean.
It is.
Process them first. Everyone gets processed.
Oh, it's taking a tissue sample.
Ooh, a tissue sample.
Extrapolating here.
A clone? Oh. Whoa, who's this?
From you? How? Who is she?
From the
She's... well...
a clone.
she's my daughter.
Or a daughter?
Hello, Dad. Daughter.
Technically,
Right, it's a technicality, right?
progenation, reproduction from a single organism, means one parent is biological mother and father.
Her name's Martha. And she's not collateral damage, not for anyone. Have you got that, G.I. Jane?
Oh. Look at this. Huh.
There was an outbreak of pacifism in the Eastern Zone 3 generations back. Don't think you can infect us with your peacemaking. We're committed
Outbreak
to the
of
fight.
pacifism.
To the end.
Well, that's alright, I can't stay anyway.
Some kind of mutation experiment? So they have something similar on this side.
Never where to find the source.
Ooh, the sauce. What's that then? What's a sauce? I like a sauce. What is it?
Breath of life.
And that would be...
Ooh.
In the beginning, the Great One breathed life into the universe.
You've shown us the way. And look, we're closer than that. It's ours.
That's a new map. There's a different set of tunnels.
Oh, so they're probably also trying to get to the source, right?
Drawing up strategies like a proper general.
No, I'm trying to stop the fighting.
Isn't every soldier?
Well, I suppose, but that's... Technically, I haven't got time for this. Donna, give me a phone.
Well, she came from you, Doctor.
Just a soldier.
Donna, will you tell her?
Oh, you are speechless. I'm loving this.
The Hath are all marching off to some place that's appeared on this map thing.
Yeah, about that.
That was me.
Have you got that stethoscope?
Give it to me.
Ooh. Ooh.
Come on.
2 hearts?
What are you doing? It's all right. Come here.
Oh.
Listen,
This is...
and then tell me where she belongs.
Is she considered a Time Lord in that sense? Because she did come from his... You can see he's trying to really distance himself, though, from this anomaly.
Two hearts.
Exactly.
What's a Time Lord?
It's who I am. It's where I'm from.
And I'm from you.
You're an echo, that's all. A Time Lord is so much more.
Oh, he's defensive.
A sum of knowledge, a code, a shared history, a shared suffering. Gone forever.
Oh, that theme's kicking in.
There was a war.
And you fought. And killed.
The music.
Yes.
Then how are we different?
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep quiet and open the door.
Can't see you try that.
Because he's a bit uncomfortable with all of this. Freezing, eh? Whoa. Yeah.
It's another one of those numbers.
They're everywhere.
Okay, they mean something, clearly.
I'm old cataloguing system.
So you don't have a name either? Are you an anomaly too?
Hmm.
Oh, come off it. You're the most anomalous bloke I've ever met.
Here it is. Killing. After a while, it infects you. And once it does, you're never rid of it.
We don't have a choice.
We always have a choice.
Watch and learn, Father.
Oh. Oh.
That was impossible.
Not impossible. Just a bit unlikely.
You were brilliant! Brilliant! I didn't kill him. General Copper could have killed him, but I didn't. You were right, I had a choice.
Oh no. Oh, there goes the...
No, we're friends. That's all.
Just
We're not
friends.
in the same species. There's probably laws against it. Do you think Jenny will see any new worlds?
I suppose so.
You mean you'll take me with you?
We can't have you here, can we?
Oh, thank you. Come on, let's go move on.
Careful, there might be traps.
Sometimes these kind of things end up being too good to be true, don't they?
Donna, I've been a father before.
What?
Oh.
Stole that a long time ago.
Right, they...
Along with everything else.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me?
Didn't they mention something like that in Series
You
1?
talk all the
Eccleston's...
time, but you don't say anything.
I know.
Yeah.
Just... When I look at her now, I can see them. The hole they left, all the pain that filled it. Just don't know if I can face that every day. When they died, that part of me died with them. It'll never come back, not now.
Something I've never told you before. I think you're wrong.
How about that? How about that?
I spent 6 months working as a temp in Hounslow Library, and I mastered the Dewey Decimal System in 2 days flat.
Oh, it's the new Byzantine calendar.
Byzantine.
A completion dates for each section.
7 days since war broke out.
This war started 7 days ago. Just a week. A week? They said years. No. They said generations. And if they're all like you, and they're products of those machines...
They could have 20 generations in a day.
Whoa.
Each generation gets killed in the war passes on the legend. Oh, Donnie, you're a genius.
Wow.
It's not for killing. Bringing life.
Yeah.
You allow it. You
Can they
lift
change their
out of these
nature?
dark tunnels.
Look at that. I hope General Cobb doesn't do anything. Because he did say he's... I mean, again, his concept of his entire life is...
The gases will escape and trigger the terraforming process.
No.
What does that mean?
It means a new world.
No. Ah,
Talk to me, Jenny.
I knew it. He seemed like the type who... It was too good to be true. Just like the Christmas special, right?
Got things to do, you and me. Hey? You're my daughter.
Oh.
And we've only just got started. You're gonna be amazing. You hear me, Jenny?
Wow. Oh no. Oh no.
I never would. Have you got that? I never would.
Oh, back to normal?
Jenny was the reason for the TARDIS bringing us here.
Ah.
Just got here too soon. Which then created Jenny in the first place. Paradox. An endless paradox.
I can't do this anymore. You'll be the same one day.
Interesting.
Never. How could I ever go back to normal life after seeing all this? I'm gonna travel with that man forever.
It'll change at some point.
It's always something worth living for, Martha.
Is this it? Is this the final ever appearance of Martha?
Goodbye, Dr. Jones.
Ah. I like that. Dr. Milligan. Oh.
Hello, boys.
Come back.
Sorry, can't stop. What are you gonna do? Tell my dad.
Where are you going?
Oh, I've got the whole universe.
Oh.
Planets to save, Civilizations to rescue, creatures to defeat.
Right then, episode 6. Oh, okay, first of all, before I go any further, I should explain the reason you're not seeing any footage. Now, I've been having some PC issues, so for this batch of uploads, I'm taking more of a podcast type approach for the post-episode discussion. The post-episode portion, it's not a permanent thing, just a temporary thing, so, I'm kind of taking a precaution for some of the uploads, or this batch of it at least. So yeah, I'm going to go back to the regular method. So for this one, you're going to have just audio, again, kind of like a podcast presentation, but it is going to have some frames from the episode. So yeah, just a quick heads up on that. Right then, on to the episode itself. Jenny, the doctor's daughter. Yeah, it was a bit of a technicality, right? It was quite clever how they did that. Now, the interesting thing that I would love to find out from you guys is if, I'm guessing, yeah, maybe the title of the episode was probably released before the episode aired, right? So that must have been quite the interesting reaction for the fans, right? To see a title like that. But then, that does also create expectation, as you can see the title itself and how this Jenny character, ends up becoming the doctor's daughter, again, technically, right, because it is from a tissue sample from the doctor. But I'm sure, a lot of fans at the time this was about to air had a lot of theories, a lot of excitement because of the title. So, I would love to hear from you guys about that time, around the time this aired, and the fans knew of the title of the episode before it actually aired. Now, in terms of Jenny being alive and out there still, now my first thought of her coming back to life, I didn't think it was a regeneration. I thought it was more so, or to me, it looked like some of the remaining gas from the source. Unless, of course, it is regeneration energy, right? They showed me that the master in Utopia, or Professor Yana's regeneration, it wasn't just a clear yellow, or not clear, it wasn't just a distinct yellow or gold, right? It had a lot of colors. There's a multicolored regeneration energy, right? So maybe it is regeneration energy, though she didn't actually regenerate, did she? Right? She didn't change her physical form. But also, if you go back to the Christmas special, the doctor does get his hand chopped off, and of course that hand makes another appearance. Speaking of the hand, yeah, they've shown that hand quite a bit. And of course, that hand could potentially be some sort of foreshadowing for sure, given the last time they showed me that hand and the role it played in Series 3 or near the conclusion of Series 3. But, going back to that, the doctor did regenerate just a hand, right, after getting it chopped off, because it was still really early on in his regeneration cycle and he was still expelling regeneration energy, right? Or was it perhaps a really unique situation, a hybrid of sorts, because she was created with the doctor's tissue sample, right? And she does have two hearts, right? They've established that is something unique to the Time Lords, or something unique to the Doctor, right? The two hearts aspect. So, maybe the source energy created some sort of hybrid, or her being similar enough to the Doctor created some sort of hybrid, stimulating energy or life. I don't know. At the end of the day, she is alive, right? And she's quite significant, right? Given that she was created from the Doctor. So it is going to be interesting to see if she becomes a reoccurring character, right? Perhaps something like Captain Jack, right? Maybe she'll be doing her own thing for a bit, and slowly the Doctor might start to hear about her, right? From other sources, or he'll start hearing about her here and there. And, maybe he'll start to put it together that this is her and she is alive. And, that might set up cameo appearances here and there, maybe. Now, honestly speaking, I can't say I'm in a hurry to see this character again. Certainly a decent new character, that's for sure. But it didn't quite give me the same excitement as Captain Jack coming back to life, right, at the end of Series 1. And then, making it possible for him to remain, part of the story in his cameo nature. as a recurring character. So yeah, Jenny is certainly an interesting new character, but not quite interesting enough for me to be, really excited for her next appearance. If it happens, it'll be really nice for sure. But, I'm not really asking for that right now. Again, I'd rather just have the focus be on Donna and the Doctor, because I am absolutely loving that dynamic. So yeah, maybe cameos here and there, that could be cool for sure. But, again, I don't need that anytime soon, to be honest. Also, earlier in the episode, Donna brought up the concept of a female Time Lord, right? So I thought that was a really cool moment, given the fact that Jodie is the current Doctor, right? And she is a female. Now, of course, it's going to be a long time before I actually get to that Doctor, but I'm sure there's going to be some unique, interesting explanation for that, right? How that happened. So yeah, something to look towards down the line for sure. And of course, staying on the ending for now, Donna and Martha's chat at the end, it was such a nice moment, right? Two totally different cycles of a companion, right? On one end, you have a companion who's had her fill of it, right? You see that Martha is completely done with this. At the end there, as a Doctor turns to her and mentions home, you see the look in her face. She's like, yeah, please, just, take me home. I've had enough of this, And then on the other side, you have a companion who can't even begin to think she would ever grow tired of this, right? And she plans on traveling with the Doctor for a long time, forever, essentially. She said as much. Now, it's certainly a nice thought, but, and you see that Martha just kind of gives a knowing smile and just hugs her, right? She, Martha understands. And Martha knows that at some point Donna is going to have that time, that phase that she might think, okay, this is probably enough. So she feels like she doesn't need to really go on about this anymore, and she just gives her a hug, right? Sooner or later, all good things come to an end. And of course, Donna's journey is also going to come to an end at some point. But, I'm not trying to think of that at this moment in time. Right now, I'm just going to enjoy the dynamic. I'm loving it so much. Doctor and Donna together. So for now, let's just enjoy it. Let's not look to the end of their journey. Ooh, and before I move on from this segment, Gendry's character. Now, unfortunately, I can't remember his name. The actor who plays Gendry in Game of Thrones. But of course, a pleasant surprise to see a familiar face. This is an ongoing thing in Doctor Who, and I'm sure it's going to continue. But yeah, his character in the beginning, or earlier in the episode, spoke of how in the beginning, this Great One kind of let out a sigh, right? Then she sighed. I felt that there was actually some imagery that was kind of similar to that, right? As Jenny expels the energy at the end there, right? And he did specify the Great One is a she. And, Jenny herself also noted that. I think the line of dialogue was she. I like that. So I thought that was a bit of a cool connection there. Right, and again, going back to Martha, yeah, it appears that this might have been the actual final goodbye to Martha. How many times can, he say goodbye to Martha and then they bring her back in? I feel like this might have been it. But also in that sense, maybe I was a bit disappointed again in terms of how they utilized her in this episode. I was in my discussion for the last episode, I mentioned that I'm happy that she is getting at least one more outing because, by making her this clone that is kind of opposing the Doctor for most of the episode, you don't really get to see Martha and the Doctor together, collaborating. But, again, in this episode, right from the beginning, they kind of separate the two, and Martha is kind of taken out of that dynamic once again. And, most of it's about Donna, the Doctor, and Jenny, right? And Martha kind of comes back in near the conclusion of the episode in the last 15 to 10 minutes, I'd say. So I was surprised they used her in that manner again, separating her from the Doctor in her potential final appearance, right, as Martha Jones. So, yeah, a bit surprised, maybe a bit disappointed in how they used her. But, in that sense, you can see that it might have been a bit overcrowded, right? If you have Martha, Donna, Jenny, and the Doctor, right? So you have, essentially two companions and a new character plus the Doctor. Could have been a bit crowded for sure. But yeah, maybe Martha's final. Now I am assuming this is her final appearance, but if it is, I I would have hoped for a different approach. That being said, I did like her connecting with this one Hath, right, Peg, who gave up his life, or its life, to save Martha. So, there a few really nice moments for sure. But again, that was Martha separate from the group, right, from the doctor on her own. Now, a thing I really want to focus on here is the doctor and Donna. I mean, this is such a fantastic dynamic. I'm enjoying this so much. I mean, this is a given at this point, but, how about Tennant's acting in this episode? There's a lot of great moments in this episode, of course, at the end there, as he's holding a gun to Cobb's head, right? You really feel that anger. And of course, that music. Now, did I notice a bit of a drum beat? Now, it's not the same type of drum beat as the Master, right? The beat of the drums, that really intoxicating, really catchy drum beat, but it was a different type of drum beat, much slower paced. And, as he's pointing the gun at Cobb, of course he doesn't do it because that's not in his nature, right? Yeah, great moment of acting there. And of course, the moment that led to it is Jenny's death. As far as they're concerned, as far as the doctor's concerned, Jenny died there, right? And that moment as he's cradling her body, right? Oh, man, he really is brilliant, isn't he? He's really effective at portraying the burden, right? The trauma of being this last remaining Time Lord. He really sells that age aspect of his character, right? The immense amounts of experiences he's had, right? And how these memories have become a burden over time, yet he's also great at masking it, right? And Donna has noted this, there's this line of dialogue in this episode. You talk all the time, but you say so little, right? And he acknowledges it, right? And, I love that Donna is clearly trying to help, right? She's trying to understand him and his experiences and his trauma. And, in that sense, I think she'll have the most understanding of this doctor, beyond the understanding Rose and Martha had of this doctor. And they actually even showed us signs of this really early on, that Donna is going to understand the doctor, or she does have an understanding for this person, right? This being, even after just a short experience. And she does understand that he needs someone, right? That was in her first ever appearance, right? In the Christmas special. So even back then, she could understand the doctor, or she could read him. And like I just said, I feel that she'll have the most impact on the doctor, through their travels and experiences. And, actually, that's already clear to see. There's more of that in this episode. I love how she reassures him that she'll help him, and Jenny will also help him, right? And as he said, right, even as he said that part will never come back, she maintains her stance, right? And she tells him he's wrong. Oh, and of course, this is all in relation to Jenny potentially being a constant reminder to the doctor, right? Of the hole they left behind, right? And all the pain that filled it. And throughout the episode, Donna was the one who helped him cross that bridge, right? And start to embrace Jenny, or, the concept or idea that, he could have loved ones again, or he could have people he cares for again. You see earlier in the episode that he is quite defensive, right? Quite standoffish, and even a bit rude in how he treats Jenny, right? But then again, as I just said, you see that he is kind of trying to distance himself from that notion that she could be this constant reminder. And, speaking of Donna being the bridge that allows the doctor to embrace Jenny, right? Or open up to Jenny, or the idea of Jenny coming along and being part of his life from this point on, you see that Donna is quite inclusive of Jenny, right? And even in little moments of, the doctor and Martha's phone call, right? Donna makes sure to say Jenny is fine as well, right? Because she wants the doctor to acknowledge that. But of course, at that point in time, he is still quite standoffish. But, Donna is the one who is trying to include her. There's actually a few great Dr. Jenny and Donna moments. I mean, there's some comedic moments at first. Jenny insists that the doctor is a soldier himself, and this is an individual who did come from the doctor, right? The tissue sample. So she is quite like him. And you see that Jenny actually has the doctor stumped, right? And you see the doctor trying to turn to Donna. He's trying to pass it off. And I love Donna's expressions, right? Or Catherine Tate's expressions, her acting in that moment. It's so believable, right? And it's so endearing. She's just loving it, right? She's absolutely loving that moment. And she tells the doctor, "You're speechless." But then, of course, it also took a more somber, a more serious tone as the doctor opened up about the Time War, right? And indeed, he does speak about, fighting in that war and killing in that war, right? And yeah, it's a great little scene as it ends off by Jenny saying, "So how am I different? How are you and I different?" And, the doctor can't really say much to that, right? Other than just kind of look at her. But also you see that the doctor is able to change Jenny's perception of things, right? Of her existence, because her existence is quite unique, right? At first, one of the reasons the doctor is a bit hostile towards her is because she came out of that machine, right? Trained to fight. Born to be a soldier. But then there's also a really great little character arc for Jenny. There's some character development in this short appearance, as she does learn from the doctor. She sees that he is a soldier, or, certainly has been a soldier in the past. He certainly said as much, right, as he shared his experiences in that jail cell, and that he does have the capacity to be one, but he chooses not to take that path at this point in time. And she finds this interesting. She finds his mannerisms interesting, and the stance he takes quite interesting, right? And you see in moments throughout this episode, they'll show Jenny kind of taking it in, right? Really listening. And you see that the gears are turning, that she is learning something new. You see one of the standout moments of that type of thing near the conclusion as he's speaking to the Hath and the human soldiers, right? And the big character changing moment, right? Defining moment happens as Jenny makes a choice to not shoot the General Cobb. And that happens because of the key point earlier on, right? The doctor having quite an open and perhaps even a heart-to-heart, right? And he tells her that over time, killing can infect you, right? And she takes that in. She understands that, right? At that moment, at that critical moment, as she has the gun pointed at a unarmed, General Cobb, she decides not to kill him, even though that's all she's known in her really interesting life, let's say. She's only been born, or she was just born not too long ago, right? And, being a soldier and, killing is all she's known in that short period of time. That's all she's been programmed for, yet now she has changed. She's made that critical change. Or she's made that change or choice at this critical moment. But one of the interesting things about this is that General Cobb himself refers to pacifism as a type of infection, right? He said, "Don't you think you can infect us with your peacemaking, right? Kind of like a disease." That's how much they reject the idea of pacifism. Right then, I think that's about it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon for the next one. So until then, take it easy. Thank you.